Duino Elegies by Rilke. Translated by Vita Sackville-West and Edward Sackville-West. The Fourth Elegy. O trees of life, when do you turn to winter? We are not in agreement. We are not initiated as migrating birds, but overtaken and belated, throng precipitately on the winds and fall into a lake that's callous to our fate. We are acquainted both with blossoming and with decay, see both in the same hour, and somewhere still the lions go to and fro, knowing no weakness while their splendor lasts. But we, when we are most firm in our intention, already are aware of some new impulse. Hostility is ever nearest to us. Lovers who gave each other mutual promise of liberty, the chase, and home, do ever o'erstep the margin. Then a moment's flash prepares a cause for weary dissonance, as we observed. For man is very patent to us. We do not know the shape of feeling, only what outwardly determines it. Who has not sat in fear before the curtain of his own heart? It rose. The scene was set for some leave-taking, and that is easily intelligible. The familiar garden that gently swayed. Then only came the dancer. Not he. Enough. However delicate his mime may be, still he is in disguise and turns into a simple householder who goes into his dwelling through the kitchen. I will not tolerate these half-filled masks. Give me the genuine puppet. That's complete. I will accept the wire, the parchment skin, and mumming faces. Here I sit in front. And even if the lights go out, and even if they should say to me that all is over, and even if the stage itself were empty, blowing a grey draught hither, and even if no silent ancestor of mine still sat beside me there, no woman, not so much as the squinting brown-eyed boy. Nevertheless, I should remain. There's always some spectacle to look at. Am I not right? You, who on my account tasted so bitterly of life, my father, who paid the price for the first troubled flow of my necessities as I grew up, who with the tang of so obscure a future preoccupied, my dim and upward gaze tested. My father, you, whose fear in me I felt in all my hopes since you are dead, and offered up, for my small share of fate, your treasure of serenity, such treasure of quietude as you, the dead, possess. Am I not right? And you, am I not right? You who once loved me for the embryo of love in me, but whom I did forsake because the hint of space which I discerned within your countenances when I loved you was blotted out for me by cosmic space, in which you had no part. I am inclined to sit before the puppet show, nay more, to watch in such absorption that to balance my staring eyes an angel must come down as player and raise up the parchment skins. Angel and puppet, there's a show at last. Then meet the elements, which we divide by our mere presence. Then for the first time in all our many years appears the outline of the whole journey. Then the angel plays above us in that hour. Ah, do the dying surmise what depths of make-believe are latent in all our doings here below? Not everything is what it seems to be. O hours of childhood, when more than the mere past was hid behind the figures that we saw, and yet before us we saw no future. True, we grew towards manhood and often wished impatiently to be grown up ourselves, half for the sake of those with nothing left them but maturity. Yet as we walked our solitary ways, we were contented with our permanence, inhabiting the gap that lies between the toy and the wide world. From the beginning, a place created for a pure event. Who shows a child the way, that it may stand? Who places it among the stars, and gives into its hand the measure of proportion? Who moulds the shape of deaths of little children in grey bread that will harden, or leaves it in the child's round mouth as 'twere a lovely apple's core? Now murderers are clear as noonday, but to entertain so easily the thought of death, of total death, or ever life began, and yet to entertain no bitterness, that's indescribable.